YouTubers, Pastor Bob. Hey, I just want to talk to you for just a minute about an aspect of time. You know, I'm totally into time. You guys that have followed me for a long time know that. But I want to talk to you about that for just a minute. There's a difference when it comes to time between the physical and the spiritual. Time affects the physical, but it does not affect the spiritual. And prayers, all prayers are spiritual. Therefore, time has no effect on them at all. Every prayer ever whispered from Adam to this very second are recorded. Those already answered are filed away, and those awaiting to be answered are sitting probably right there on a postum, you know, the other side of God's throne. He knows what they are, and He's just working on them in His time. If your grandmother prayed over you when you were like 2 months old, and you're now 60, if that prayer has not been answered, that prayer is still there. Even though Grandma died years ago, that prayer is still there, right before God. He's looking at it, waiting for His time to answer her prayer. That prayer outlived Grandma, because prayers are timeless. The problem comes in when the prayer is timeless and we're not. We're impatient. We don't want to wait for anything. This is what Jesus told us in Matthew 7:7-8. This is what He said. Ask and it shall be given you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asks receives, and he that seeks finds. To him that knocks, it shall be opened. This statement about prayer by Jesus gives us two absolutes about prayer. The first absolute, it says, ask and it shall be given you. In other words, God answers every single prayer. It doesn't matter if it's a prayer that someone got down on their knees in 1421 in England somewhere and prayed a prayer. That prayer, if God didn't answer it back then, it is still before Him right here today. God answers every prayer according to His will. Number two, there's no time limit assigned. God answers in His timing. So every prayer, according to God's will, according to His timing. This is the key to effective prayer. And people, I'm not talking to you like I'm an expert, trust me. I struggle in my prayer life more than any other area in my life, as most Christians do. This is something you need to do. Set a time or times for prayers and establish a habit. You have to pray at the same time every day. I'm also talking you can pray throughout the day, but there needs to be certain times that you pray every day. Number one, I have several times. First thing in the morning when I get up. First thing in the morning when I get up, that's my study time, and I pray throughout my study time. Whenever I take my dog, Mr. Broad, for a walk, that's 30 minutes we do every day. That's 30 minutes of prayer time. Other than trying to keep Brody from eating a cat, I'm praying. So remember, prayers are timeless. All right? We're waiting on God to act. Don't force things. When you're waiting on God to act, there's only one thing you need to do during that time, and that's wait. Wait. God don't need your help. Wait. And always remember that God knows what you need better than you do. I mean, none of us wants to admit that, but God knows what you need better than you do. So establish a set time for prayer every day. Remember, prayers are timeless. Wait for God. Don't get in a hurry. Don't force things. God doesn't need your help. And the last thing about prayer that you need to always remember, never give up. Never. Never give up. Continue to pray. Because you know what? When you never give up and you continue to pray, you're not bugging God. Do you know that? A child of God is never bugging God. Matter of fact, God actually loves talking to you. You know that? When you pray, God loves talking to you. People's words have power. And there's nothing in a born-again believer that Satan is afraid of. Nothing. Until you open your mouth. The minute you open your mouth and start to pray, that's when you affect him. And he doesn't like it. You wonder why you have so much trouble developing a good prayer life? That's the reason. The only thing Satan hates about a born-again believer is when you open your mouth and start to pray. Because the minute you do, you start affecting him, his entire kingdom, everything about him is affected when you pray. That's why he comes against every born-again believer with everything they've got to try to keep you from praying. That's how it works. So never give up. Continue to pray. You're not bugging God. He likes to hear from you. Anyhow, I just want to give you something to think about. Heaven or hell, you choose. Just remember, once you take your last breath, it's a done deal.